We do have Riley Hubert against Dante Moreno, I believe.
Yeah. So I know a ton about Riley. He's an Ohio player. He plays a lot with Andrew Mahomes, and they just test nonstop. They're fantastic players. He does a lot of streaming as well. He had his huge breakout win in Dallas. He had an expanded regional that he just did fantastic with Zorark, and that's just. He's kind of been able to just pick up any deck from that point and showcase that he is one of these great players.
Okay.
Over on the other side, don't know too much about his opponent here. Curious to see what decks they're running. I do believe that Riley is going to be on the Sylveon and Gardevoir tag team deck, from what I remember.
I have Mulligan. I guess that's where we're going to get to find out, right?
Hey, there we go. Yep. So I get a little sneak peek, but I'll enlighten everyone at home. Riley is on that deck there. Do see? Oh my goodness.
Well, I see a lot of psychic energy. I get to see.
All right, if that's not Malamar, I'll just walk home.
I'm excited. I think we have gone the entire day so far without featuring Malamar yet, and that's not representative of the field.
Exactly.
Malamar might be the most popular deck in the entire field right now.
Yep. If you ask some of the seniors, they have ran into a lot of Malamar decks throughout their tournament runs for sure.
And so have the Masters, as Malamar, specifically in this format, seems to be poised to really do a lot of damage. A lot of people have claimed, that it might be too inconsistent for the world stage or whatnot. But I think that given things like Mysterious Treasure and whatnot, it's definitely in a solid spot, and it seems to be doing fairly well in day one.
Yeah, if you're playing Dragon, Psychic, or Lightning, you're in a fantastic spot. Those are the easiest searches available. Of course, Cherish Ball as well, being able to search out some GX Pokemon. If you're playing a very heavy GX deck, then you have the access to all those amazing cards too. Every other deck kind of struggles. There's no way to search out a Volcanion anymore. So how do you really get consistency with that unless you start with it?
Right. Like, you either have to play so many Pokemon that you can afford to play something like Pokemon Communication, or you kind of have to just hope that you naturally draw into a lot of these other Pokemon, like you mentioned, like Volcanion. And it just makes your list feel a little bit more rough.
Sure.
And in this particular case, a lot of players are choosing to go with something like Mysterious Treasure, of course, Cherish Ball, one of the key cards. And actually, we're seeing Gardevoir and Sylveon GX, a Giant Bomb, Mix Herbs.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's only got
spice.
He's got one Giant Bomb in his deck, and it's in the prize cards. Very cool. Yeah, taking a peek over at Dante's list, he is playing that Garchomp and Giratina tag team Pokemon, so we will see fighting energies coming into play. Trying to manipulate damage. If you can get a little bit of damage onto the Pokemon of Riley, we could see upwards of 240 damage at a 3 energy attack.
All right, so Dante Moreno against Riley Hubert. It looks like Dante may be the player going first, and he sure is. Do we have a... Yep, we do have confirmation that it's Malamar, just making sure.
I got you. All right, does start that Tapu Fini. It's not a tech that you want to bring out in this matchup per se. It's mainly for the fighting or the fire guys.
Yeah, I mean, playing something like Tapu Fini just keeps a lot of opponents honest, right? Like, if you're going to play that Blacephalon stuff, then you may run into something like Tapu Fini, and if people don't play Tapu Fini, then other people are just going to assume that Blacephalon is a safe play. We see a Garchomp and Giratina GX.
Yes! Look at those energies. I love those energies. I'm fanboying.
It's rare when we get to see those energies anymore, right?
It's the ADV or the Matrix energy, as they've been called. Oh,
yeah, the Matrix.
They're so cool. Definitely some of my favorites. Very sadly, had to get rid of my playsets of them years ago when I was a young man.
I'm sure that they paid their dividends.
Oh, they're worth their weight in gold, I'm sure.
All right, Dante Moreno looking through his deck. Of course, wants to complete a setup. That's the ideal thing to do when you're in well, with every deck, but specifically if you're a Malamar deck, turn 1 and turn 2 are just so important. If you do not get multiple Malamars in play, if you do not get an attack going, then you could potentially fall pretty far behind, and that tends to be the reason why a lot of people discount playing Malamar. They say that the early turns are just so important, and I don't want to have to rely on always getting stage 1s into play in the first couple of turns. So that's something to really look out for if you're looking out for this Malamar deck. You want to see if the Malamar player is going to be able to set up consistently enough. If he's not, then that says a lot for Riley's chances of winning the game.
Yep.
Now we know what Malamar is going to be doing. What do we expect out of Riley here?
So Riley really needs to find something. His hand is terrible. He would love to find more Gardevoir and Sylveon so that he could start to accelerate energy onto them and eventually just get a nice consistent play going. But man, he's just drawing energies.
Wow.
It looks like both players don't have anything going on for themselves.
Yeah, it really does. It seems like both Dante and Riley are forced to just kind of, draw go. As yes, they have items, they have energies and whatnot, but they're just not doing enough. They aren't helping themselves progress forward. And now we see 3 energy onto Riley's. Gardevoir and Sylveon.
Riley's choosing not to attack here, doesn't want to knock out the Tapu Fini just because he knows that means that he's going to start to get...
There's a switch,
oh,
and that's
man.
the end of the game. Dante Moreno takes a quick game 1 against Riley Hubert. You were saying it yourself. You wanted to avoid knocking out that Tapu Fini, even though it would have given him a prize. It would have allowed Dante to be able to start attacking, and that would have meant the end of Riley's lone Gardevoir and Sylveon GX there. That was just too fast. I don't understand. I don't understand how Riley's going to be able to win 2 consecutive games there with such a strong attack against them.
Yeah, that was something. He just could not handle. Even his opponent not having supporters,
Right.
he just needed to have something going for himself. Just wasn't able to fend off the Giratina and Garchomp.
I mean, that really just goes to show you how powerful Garchomp and Giratina really is, right?
Yeah.
And Riley knew it. Riley tried to avoid playing into it. He gave himself the best possible chance at it, but a timely switch was enough to spell defeat for Riley Hubert there. Now they are still both competing. You do have to win 2 out of 3 games in the match to win the round. And remember, both of these players are 4-0. They are trying to get to 6 victories to get to 18 match points. If they can do so, they will earn themselves a Day 2 qualification. So the winner of this game is just in as good a spot as you can be in to make Day 2. The loser of this game is going to have to win 2 more matches before they take 2 more defeats.
Yep. So just thinking about how the matchup works with the GG and GX attack,
right.
That can certainly be huge for Riley. He needs to find multiple Pokemon so that he doesn't get knocked out by that effect. It's a way that Dante can just end games so clean.
Right. Dante won without having to take prizes.
Throw them away.
Yeah.
You don't get to play Pokemon anymore.
And it just shows you. I mean, first of all, GG and GX is just a very powerful attack already.
Yeah.
But you play it against the deck that only plays 4 Pokemon, for example, and then you really get to abuse GG and GX.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of playtesting with it and thrown away a lot of Reshiram and Charizards in my time, but I have not thrown away the single Pokemon of my opponent for the win. That is certainly something that I'm sure Riley was trying to avoid, but man, his hand did not help him there.
Well, we have 4 trainers and two fairy energies here for Riley, so Riley could potentially have a much better start than he had game 1. Sure enough, he already has 2 Gardevoir and Sylveon GX in play, and he has a supporter, and the ideal supporter at that with Green's Exploration. So I'm not going to quite say that he's firing on all cylinders, but he's firing on way more cylinders than he was firing on last game.
1 cylinder would be more than last game.
All right, but on the other hand, we do have Dante already up a game, and with 43 minutes still remaining on the clock, he's got to feel pretty good about his chances, given that he's got the Garchomp and Giratina GX to attack with.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic card for him to bring up. We do see that power plant come into play. Don't know if it's going to make too much of an impact against Dante. He does have that one Dedenne GX maybe that he would need, but looks like just going to toss it.
Well, you are right. He is tossing it, and we're going to see Dante start to set up his side of the field. He very aggressively is starting to bring these Inkays into play. Remember, as important as it can be for him to get multiple Inkays in play on turn 1 so that he can evolve them into Malamar on turn 2. Hugely important for this Malamar deck to get these Malamars into play as soon as possible. Otherwise, you just can't power up these really giant attacks that you have. You know, you have very powerful attacks, you have very powerful Pokemon with high HP, but in order for you to get these attacks off, you're going to need to get your Malamars in play.
Yep, and that's exactly what he's trying to do here. Also able to find some Psychic Energy, accidentally plays it down as a Pokemon. No worries, does have that Viridian Forest, so can also get his Giratina into the discard pile. Instead of a Psychic Energy, wants to get that 10 damage onto the Gardevoir and Sylveon, and I definitely agree with this play.
Yeah, I do too, as he now finds that Psychic Energy with that Viridian Forest.
Yeah, this is very helpful in setting up for big knockouts with your Garchomp and Giratina tag team.
And he still has that Jirachi in the active spot. I mean, this is a really good setup here for Dante.
Yep.
The only thing missing here is just that Garchomp and Giratina GX. And, of course, some Malamars that are, I'm sure, soon to come into play on turn 2. Dante finding an Acro Bike with his Jirachi. Has a small hand, but has already played so many cards onto the field.
Oh, and beautiful.
Almost, yeah.
That's exactly what you want to see.
What did he find?
He found another Psychic Energy, so
okay, nice.
Certainly good for him there. Not being too greedy. Gets the Psychic in the discard. Nicely done there.
All right. Jirachi stays asleep. And now Riley's turn to come out and play.
Yep. Seen a lot of Coach Trainer over the course of this tournament. A lot more than I was honestly expecting to see.
Right? Yeah, same here. Coach Trainer, you know, no doubt a powerful card, but, you know, everybody, I think, really took to heart the fact that we were losing so many powerful supporter cards
Absolutely.
And effects, and decided to give Coach Trainer its due diligence there.
Yep. Just very consistent. Most supporter effects generally get you 3 unless you have to do some interesting workaround. With this, having a tag team Pokemon in the active spot's not very hard for a lot of these decks to do. So getting 4 cards for having that simple activation is fantastic.
Now Dante gets to start his second turn of the game. We see some more psychic energies hit the discard pile.
Yep, uses that Viridian Forest, discards the Psychic Energy, chooses not to use the effect of the Viridian, just gonna shuffle in with Cynthia, get 6 cards. Definitely gonna be looking for an escape board on this turn. And
yeah, an escape board is definitely going to be a crucial element. Also wants to get an attacker. He does have that Giratina in the discard pile still.
He's got the one with 2 energies. He's almost there. He just needs a Malamar.
This is very true as well.
Finds that escape board. Looking for Mysterious Treasure. There it is.
Mysterious Treasure, yeah. There it is. So he will be able to find himself.
Communication
well, he
does
finds
it
communication, yeah. But he will be able to find himself a Malamar there because of either of these item cards. And of course, Jirachi does fall asleep.
It's a really tiring ability.
I mean, you're wishing upon a star right there, right? With your Stellar Wish.
Makes no difference.
And I never wish upon a star in the middle of the day. It's always nighttime and bedtime when I do that. Yeah. Now, we do see Malamar allow this Giratina to attach the 3rd energy to it. And there we go, 130 damage onto this Gardevoir and Sylveon GX. 40 damage onto the Giratina.
Yep. It makes a ton of sense to just place this damage onto the Giratina. You know that your opponent is going to deal damage in increments of at least 150, so if you got 130 hit points, just throw it on. Who cares?
Dante playing this extremely well, and so is Riley at this point now, healing 50 damage off of the Gardevoir and Sylveon. That still leaves it with 80 damage, but it's now feeling a little bit healthier, right? Like at this point, you start fearing things a lot less. Now he still has a little bit more heal available to him if he wants to go that route. Chooses not to, and actually just takes this knockout on that Giratina.
I like
Thoughts on
that. Yeah, he's so if his opponent decides to get aggressive, can pull out the Garchomp and Giratina tag team. He doesn't want to waste the heal, essentially. I mean, I guess he could set up a spot where he can't get knocked out then. Maybe that is better. It's tough to call.
Right, I mean, he would have left himself.
If his opponent does go with the easier route, which is just getting another Giratina into play, this is the better line because you don't want to heal off all the damage and then just get set up for another 2-shot. You'd rather make it a 3-shot.
Yeah, really the only way that this kind of backfires is if your opponent kind of uses something along the lines of like a reset stamp and then deals, say, 130 damage to you. Then you start feeling a little bit foolish, right? But
agreed.
Yeah. But that's just very unlikely to happen this early in the game. Like, I would probably save my reset stamps for a later portion of the game, and that allows Riley to kind of safely hold on to these cards in his hand.
Yeah, Dante is also only playing one reset stamp from what I've seen, so he's going to have to time that out pretty perfectly.
Yeah, it just means that it's that much more difficult for him to pull the trigger on actually playing the reset stamp.
Yep.
Now, Dante still going through his turn. Will he be able to do anything besides just deal 130 onto the Garchomp and Giratina? Or I'm sorry, Garchomp and Sylveon.
Gardevoir.
Yeah, there's so many Garchomps, Gardevoirs, Giratinas, and Sylveons that at this point you can probably expect for me to make this mistake.
The big guy in the active spot.
The big tag team Pokemon with a whole lot of hit points and that deals with a lot of damage with its attack.
Welcome to Pokemon, everyone. All right. Cool. All right, we see the tag switch coming in.
Okay, well, there is that tag switch. Able to put all the energy
here we go.
Onto the Gardevoir, and now a super scoop up into heads.
Well, that does not go in the discard pile, but he'll figure it out soon enough. That was a huge flip.
Yeah, I think he's figuring it out right now. He's like, where'd my Gardevoir go?
Like, wait.
Huh?
No?
I could have sworn I was going to bench it right now.
Can I keep that?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, one GG end would make him feel like a real sad boy if he did not have that in play.
Green's Exploration now being the supporter of choice here for Riley. Man, Green's Exploration is so powerful when you can find yourself double custom catcher out of nowhere.
Yep, looks like he's going to set up, be a little safer, get another Greens as well. I like that. Just want to make sure that you never end up in a hand that has nothing, especially when you could put your opponent on a hand that has nothing in a situation like this.
And this is the kind of turn where Dante's probably hoping he's got a reset stamp available to him.
So in a situation like this, do you go custom catcher onto Jirachi and then take the hand completely out, or do you take away the threat that is the Giratina?
I think I take away the threats. It's the Giratina, man. But
I
take that back.
I like this. Yeah.
Yeah. You want your opponent to have as few outs as possible. We've seen that as early as round round 1 or round 2, and taking out their Jirachi and then using Mysterious or Miracle. Yeah, using the GX attack.
Magic Miracle.
Magic Miracle.
Magical Miracle.
Magical Miracle. It just, it may not take out the attacker, but at the same time, Dante's already set up enough, and I think that's really what matters most. Dante's got his wall of Malamars there.
Oh no, he found the Ditto.
Dante's got his wall of Malamars there, and
I almost don't agree with this. You could just hold the Ditto, maybe find a communication for a Jirachi or something like.
I think it's fine because you're going to be able to just promote the Ditto after your Giratina inevitably goes down, right?
Did he have a Psychic Energy? He did have a Psychic Energy in his discard pile that he could have attached to the Ditto in order to have a retreat, too. So
Yeah, I mean, you
This
might
is
be right.
tough.
Yeah, you might be right. I can get behind the idea of benching the Ditto and just not sacrificing one of your Malamars quite yet.
Also, can we talk about the work that Wondrous Labyrinth is putting in right now?
Oh, of course, man. Wondrous Labyrinth just
He-
so powerful here.
Yeah, Dante did not have enough energy to attack, even though his card says you have enough energy to attack. Wondrous Labyrinth said, no, thank you. I'll just not take damage.
I mean, it's a little bit of a lock, right? Once Riley gets all these cards into play and uses his Magical Miracle, that's
it.
Yeah, that spells enough for Dante to have to scoop up his cards. And now we're going to game 3. Dante Moreno was able to pick up a quick game 1, but once Riley was able to set up in the second game, we saw how Riley's deck just really kind of feasts on slower starts from other players. And despite having triple Malamar, he eventually got the 6 energy into play, did Riley, and Magical Miracle correctly choosing to go after the Jirachi meant that Dante just needed too much help from a single draw, and it just was not provided.
Yeah. Mr. Hubert is doing some work. And honestly, when you look at this matchup on paper, it looks like Riley should dominate. He's got an opponent that chose to play a tag team Pokemon that's weak to Fairy. He can just go up and do a Kaleidostorm, take a huge knockout, and he's in a fantastic spot. He also has a way to completely remove his opponent's hand, and it's pretty difficult to come back from that if you're able to lock in a card like Power Plant, just something so that a Dedenne can never come down. Your opponent already has limited amounts of outs there. If you can get that one Jirachi off of the board, you're in a great spot. And it seems like everything should go Riley's way, but there are certainly some turns that this kind of match can take. With GG End, you could just remove the only Pokemon and just win the game as early as the second turn.
Now, we got to see that there was one Garchomp and Giratina prized for Dante there.
I believe he plays 2 in his list. Usually you don't go past that.
Yeah, I believe he has 2, and he does. He has 2 in his list. So having one prize puts a little bit of pressure on the other one. But, I mean, as long as you can get one in play, that's really all you're going to want to get. And that just threatens that GG and GX. I mean, if it puts Riley in a position where if he draws poorly again like he did game 1, then he could be threatened to just, lose on turn 2 or lose early in the game as he did in game 1.
Yep. This is a deck from Riley that isn't afraid to go second. It's got some cards to take advantage of going second in those energy spinners, but he certainly would like to find some supporters because this can go bad. We've seen it go bad before.
Saw a couple of Great Potions prized for Riley.
Yep.
Nothing too major beyond that, though.
Can be slightly impactful, but it's more of like that mid-game stage.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right when you started mentioning how the matchup looked extremely good on paper for Riley. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, yeah, it looks much better on paper than it ends up playing out as, but it's still a very favorable matchup for Riley.
Yeah.
It still comes down to, I mean, the primary attacker for Dante is weak to Gardevoir. And then beyond that, the Giratina just gets healed off, right? Like, that's what your Great Potions are for. That's what you set yourself up for position to be able to defeat these single prize attackers pretty easily because of all of your heal. So I believe that Riley is in a pretty good spot. However, we've seen how the deck sometimes.
Yeah, before we talk about his good spot, the deck is certainly in a good spot. This current game, if he didn't top deck that Gardevoir, he was in a terrible spot. His hand is terrible. He has no way to get through his deck. He did not find that greens, and this is an issue with decks that are built around greens exploration. If you're trying to work without abilities, you aren't going to have a way to accelerate cards if you don't have them in your hand already.
We see a couple of Malabars right away from Dante, though. That is really huge for him. He's not, he's not slowing down here. Dante is, he needs to get an explosive start. He knows that, that Riley's start has not been very aggressive. So if he can start to put some pressure on on Riley, then he could potentially kind of like steal one again, you know?
Yeah.
Like he did game 1.
He does not have the energies in the discard pile to really start doing a lot of work, but this setup looks really nice.
Right, and then once you start using, your Stellar Wish and whatnot, you're going to be able to start setting up your discard pile as well. And once you do that, then that's when Riley's really hoping for the top of his deck to start helping him out.
So, from a sheer aggression standpoint, could use Pokemon Communication, find a Dene, and just roll.
Sure.
He'd be looking to find some Psychic Energies, but his opponent really hasn't done anything. He has 0 cards in his discard pile, so maybe you don't feel like going aggressive. We'll just have to see what he chooses here. And yeah, it looks like just going for the Giratina there.
Okay, so not going as aggressive as you potentially suggested he do, but at the same time, he doesn't necessarily need to go aggressive quite yet. Because Riley's hand is shown to be very slow, but I would like to see him turn the gas up, for example, as soon as possible, because then that just puts way more pressure on Riley to start setting up faster.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we do see Switch come down. The Giratina is in the active spot. Chose not to take the energy from his Malamar, so he's just going to go up with no energies.
Sure.
Just pass the turn. Super curious.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Now, Riley, though, just has a very quick turn himself. Yeah.
Riley's, get these fairy energies out of my deck. I need to draw a supporter right now.
What's awesome is every time he does that, he thins his deck out more and more.
Exactly.
And gives himself better and better odds to start drawing out of this spot. So, like I said, Dante didn't have any real pressure to employ yet, but he does want to do it as soon as possible because the window starts to shrink for him, right?
Yeah.
Right now, the window's wide open, but the moment that Riley starts drawing better and better, then Dante's window for victory just kind of starts to dissipate and disappear.
Yeah, we are 1 greens away from Jirachi being knocked out. A potential scoop up flip, of course, but this game could get ugly real fast.
All right, Dante Moreno finally gets an energy on the field, and that's it. That's all he had.
This is so
Very
slow.
reminiscent of Game 1.
Oh,
But this time around,
Riley with the
super
scoop early.
up.
Gets
All right,
it.
there it is. It has on the super scoop up. We're now going to be able to see some Kaleidostorms.
This is dangerous.
It really is.
You take the knockout, then spell tag moves the damage to you.
It is a dangerous line of play.
Yeah, I think you put 2. You go 2 and 2, I guess, right? Oh, going 4.
He put 40 on the active. I think both lines of play are fine right now. I think that it's still early enough that both lines of play have a lot of play to them. Now we see another Malamar play, and Giratina coming right back.
This is exactly what Riley wanted to see. If a Giratina, Garchomp Giratina came out, he would have probably felt like he was in a really bad spot. He doesn't want to take a knockout at this point in the game. He hasn't been able to find any supporter cards, so just seeing a Pokemon come up and do 130 damage, it's not the end of the world for him.
All right, so Jirachi wishes and then switches. Wishes and switches.
So
and
he
then
has,
Cynthia does draw 6 more cards for Dante.
he has not played his energy for the turn, right? So
Right, that's correct.
He is looking for the energy off the 6 cards here.
Yeah, I mean, something like Viridian Forest, Energies, all these cards are going to be very important for him at this point.
Yep. Also could be a fighting energy as well. Would not be a big deal.
There's the energy
Yeah,
right away.
definitely
And sure
finds-
enough, I mean, it was almost expected that he was going to hit that.
Yeah, 4 of them.
Yeah.
Easy.
Acrobike, though, he's not done with his turn quite yet. He did show Riley the bad news, but now at this point, he also wants to start setting himself up for future attackers. And there goes another Psychic Energy into the discard pile.
Yeah, that works out great for him.
Yeah. You see that Tapu Fini just kind of like being really annoying on the bench there? You would have preferred for it not to be there, of course.
Yeah.
But
If you could pick your ideal bench, you don't have him there.
But beyond that, like, that's really one of the few weaknesses that Dante's board has.
This is so hard to watch over for Riley. He's just trying to thin through his deck as best he can. Just get
Energy
out of
spinner.
here. Where's my greens?
We've seen Energy Spinner just be an absolutely brutal card, but in this particular case, it just seems extremely feeble.
It's just worse, Professor Letter.
Yeah. All right, another super scoop
He's
up.
good at these.
Yeah, this time he gets another heads, too. He is extremely good at these.
I don't know if that's something you want to be known for. But it certainly feels good when you flip heads.
All right, well, we see all that damage just disappear. And another knockout onto this Giratina. That's 2 knockouts now for Riley.
Yep, no spell tag either, so that means that this Gardevoir and Sylveon is going to be relatively safe. And don't see any way that it gets knocked out this turn.
That is the most stubborn Giratina that I think we've seen
I'm
so
back.
far. All right. It's almost like it's going up against like the Mike Tyson, right? It's just you get knocked down, you get back up again.
Just doing some rope-a-dope.
Over and over. And you're hoping that you can just tire that Gardevoir out. But it still does not seem to be very tired yet, as there's 2 Gardevoirs with 2 energy on them apiece. And that's just too many attackers that are threatening Dante right now, and he just doesn't have the damage output quite yet to really combat this, especially if Riley's able to super scoop up it away every time.
Yeah, with the addition of tag team Pokemon to our game, just having the availability of super scoop up is huge. Having so many hit points, that means you can stack a lot of dice onto a Pokemon. If you can remove all those dice, your opponent's probably not going to be very happy.
All right, Giratina's back, and it's, just once again tickling away at,
here we go. This is big.
All right, he does find himself a way
to
start drawing out of this, and sure enough, I believe that's a coach trainer.
Yeah, that's going to be 4 cards. That means that Riley certainly could find some impactful cards here. If he's able to find another super scoop up, this could be huge.
All right, he's going to allow himself to draw 4 cards right now. 4 cards in one single turn. That's basically the equivalent of everything he's drawn in the entire game up until now.
It's a super Sharon.
Yeah. All right, 4 cards drawn. I believe he found just a couple of tag switches, energy. Not too much help.
I saw one of the mixed herbs, I believe.
Okay, there was a mixed herb.
And he's got a second one in hand, so could remove.
Yeah, that could be huge.
A pretty fair chunk of damage, and if your opponent is only going to be using Giratinas, that would be very helpful. 90 damage removed, so he could put himself at 50. 210 damage is going to be something that only Garchomp and Giratina could hit.
All right, so that does make you feel pretty safe if you're Riley. So he is going to go ahead and play both mixed herbs, get that second effect from that mixed herbs card. We now see a 3rd Gardevoir.
Just in case his opponent is able to set up a GG end where he removes 2 Pokemon, just make sure you got a 3rd. It's always a great idea.
Fair enough. And yeah, that's all 3 energy being Kaleidostormed off of the active and onto the 2 benched Gardevoirs.
Yeah, he's going to remove all of the energies.
Yeah, with that giant bomb on the Gardevoir now. I mean, geez, what does Dante do? I mean, he has to abandon the Giratina plan at this point, right?
Well, it's all he's got. He's just got to keep on putting his damage down and hoping that it gets him into a safe spot. But Riley's just been moving damage counters left and right. They've not been able to stick.
Yeah, I mean, the Malamar deck is very good at getting attackers going, as we've seen from Dante. It seems like every turn he just gets 3 energy into play again. So he's just recycling these energies really well. The problem is his damage output has just been negligible here for Riley, as Riley's just been able to either scoop it up away or, like we saw last turn, mixed herb it away. And that just impedes Riley from getting knocked out.
All right, so Riley, if he does have a tag switch or a super scoop up, he could find his way into another knockout here. He would certainly love to have that. Obviously, scoop up would be fantastic if he could get another heads. That would be just back-breaking here for Dante.
I believe he's got 1 left in his deck, so he could still find it. Would still have to flip heads, but he could still find it.
Flip
it's almost
heads.
Assumed.
Yeah.
It's almost assumed.
It reads as Acerola.
Tag switch.
Yep.
Tag switch has already been a powerful effect, but in this Gardevoir deck specifically, it's just beautiful. There's
Yep.
another Kaleidostorm, 150 damage, knocks out that Giratina. We've seen this before, and all the energy goes away.
Yep, just going to move around these energies very wisely, taking the energies off the one with 2. It just means that Dante has to get a little more creative with the damage placement from Spell Tag.
Now Dante just once again has the same kind of field that he's had for the last few turns. Seems like every turn we've seen the same line of play from Dante, which is just bring back that Giratina, tickle away at one of the Gardevoirs, and then...
That's the attack, right? Tickle?
Yeah, at least it feels that way. And then Riley just heals it all off, you know? I've never seen a less ticklish Gardevoir than I'm seeing right now.
Except for your Monferno.
That's... Oh, man. Oh, it's too soon, Kyle. All right, Dante now playing an acro bike. Reset stamp is going to be the card he found.
Anytime you lose a fighting, it's never coming back. But that has not been the game plan for him. He has to keep using these Giratina. It feels so bad, but finally he's going to get a little bit of what he's been working so hard for. 3 prize cards.
Yes, 3 prize cards are nice to take, but then, you know, there's only 30 damage on each of these other benched Gardevoirs. It's going to be so difficult for you to take your final 3 prizes.
There's a card called Garchomp and Giratina.
Yes,
which
you are correct.
Which is good when your opponent has damage counters on them. Finding the fighting energy and the Pokemon are tough. Absolutely agree there.
Yeah, it's not a given. Obviously, the setup is great, and Dante has put himself in a position to potentially win this game and the match.
Wow, look at that. He used the custom catcher, drawing 2 cards, and he was able to find a greens.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so Riley almost was in a position where he had to hope that Dante didn't have the cards he needed, but now Riley could put himself in a position to
he could just go find a potion and put himself in a fantastic spot.
Exactly. He put himself in a position where now Dante might have to, you know, might have the game out of his own reach.
Yeah. It would involve Dante having custom catchers of his own, and does he even play them? I can't imagine it's so hard to justify them in a deck that's as tight as his.
Yeah, that deck is just so full of things that you absolutely need, like extra energies, an evolution line, things like that. That's where custom catchers just rarely used, and you don't get access to things like Green's Exploration to help you find, you know, the multiples of these custom catchers.
Yep, he has no way to move around. He's just completely focused on taking out the active Pokemon.
That Green's Exploration was absolutely critical. Dante really needed that to not happen, as now if he does find himself a Great Potion, he'll be able to heal away all the damage onto... Oh, he didn't, though.
It looks like he's going to bank on the Choice Helmet. It's essentially the same thing. It just protects him from the 240 damage attack from the Garchomp and Giratina taking a knockout.
Fair enough. Okay. So now Dante...
He's got to piece it together, but how do you do it?
He has Riley at a single prize. He does have that Garchomp and the fighting energy, so he had it available to him.
Does he have like a Lysander lab?
Yeah, I mean, if he does, but he doesn't.
He's just gonna attack straight into it. I'm pretty sure that's just it.
Well, Riley's got a small hand, right? Riley's got like a 1-card hand.
He's weak.
Oh, he's weak. You're right. Of course. How can we forget? That's 300 damage that he can deal.
So yeah, he's just gonna throw all the damage on, but
largely irrelevant here. All Riley has to do is just attack.
Yeah.
There it is. There's the attack. Riley Hubert will take this game and this match as, wow, we saw how the weakness finally came into effect. It finally played a role. But it didn't really play a role up until the final turn of the game.
Agreed. Yeah, that was something that either Dante was working around, which it makes a ton of sense. You don't want to give your opponent 3 prize cards. Make them have to earn 8 prize cards. And he was able to do that, but man, it's just a little short. Finding that Green's Exploration off of a custom catcher for 1 to draw 2 cards, that's just nutty. And it worked out fantastically for Riley Hubert. Congratulations to him for taking that victory.